If you thought making kimchi at home was too hard, well, I have news for you. I have a very easy, slightly quicker version than the classic. This is my version of Korean kimchi. Kimchi, that super funky, epic, umami-packed condiment that I love. Let's get straight in here. We're doing a cabbage version today. I have like the biggest head of Napa cabbage or wombok or Chinese cabbage, whatever you want to call it. This guy is large. What we want to do here is cut this guy in half first of all. Now with the classic version, you're usually kind of dealing with sort of whole heads or half heads of the cabbage. We're doing a quicker version, so I want to get this broken down into much smaller pieces. It's going to make the whole process happen a bit faster. What you want to do first of all though is cut out this core part. And then cut your pieces in half again. And now you want to go for like, 3 centimeter kind of chunks here. Basically, I like to think of, I want little bite-sized pieces, perfect enough to kind of just scoop up with some chopsticks. So it's the sort of size you're looking for. And then first up, we want to get our cabbage leaves nice and clean. So I'm going to give this a good rinse under the tap. Now back in our bowl here. And now we're into like the first kind of salty step of our kimchi making process. The salt's really important here. So the salt's not only going to add the flavor that we want, but it's also going to help to soften the cabbage as well and start to break down that vegetable. Is that a good mix? And then I like to leave this for about 2 hours. You want to come back every now and then and just kind of sort of give it a turn, give it a mix. So while our cabbage is doing its thing, we've got lots of time to get our kind of kimchi fermenting paste thing going on. You can buy a kimchi starter from a lot of Asian stores or online. Making it at home is really easy though. First of all, what you need is some Korean chili flakes. So these are gochugaru. Look, have a look online. It's really easy to order online. I love the color. It's beautiful, bright red, and it's spicy. It's not ridiculously spicy though. It's just right, I think, for this purpose. And then to that you want some garlic. And the cool thing about making your own kimchi at home is you can really tailor it to how you like. I like it garlicky, that's just me. So I'm using a fair amount of garlic here. If you like it less garlicky, then by all means use less. Now we want some ginger in here as well. We want some sugar in here as well. You do need a little bit of sugar and sweetness, not just for the flavor, but also like chemically what happens is the vegetables all kind of have their own little bits of bacteria on them just naturally, and that bacteria actually reacts with the sugars and the starches in this paste, and that's how you get the fermentation thing happening. So yeah, scientifically we kind of need a little bit of sugar as well, and some fish sauce, because you've got to have some funk. Kimchi, let's not kid ourselves, is funky. The fish sauce is going to give us some of that. If possible, you could get a nashi pear, which would probably be more typical in Korean food, but I just have a regular pear here. Kind of like the sweet fruitiness this gives to the kimchi, and also helps with that fermentation process as well. Now we just want to blend that till it's nice and smooth. All right, so this is the kind of situation that you're looking for. Oh, that smell, it's like, whew, it already smells a bit like kimchi already. Now look at that bright red paste. Oh, that is just pure happiness in there. All right, now that's looking good. I just want to slice up a few more vegetables. I like to do a bit of a mix of cabbage and spring onion and daikon as well. So we'll go with the spring onion. Now I like to have the spring onion kind of in strips. I like to see those little strips every time I pick up a little mouthful of kimchi. I don't know why, aesthetically, I just like it. So we go down here through the center of the spring onion, and then make sure you're slicing through those green parts as well. And now this guy here is a Japanese radish, also called a daikon. I really love, it's got a very mild flavor, but it's really good at like soaking up all the kimchi flavors, and I love how crunchy it is, so I like it for that reason, but you can leave it out if it's not widely available where you are. Now you want to peel this first. And then some nice battens. Now once your cabbage has had that time to kind of get itself acquainted with that salt, you can see that it's a lot kind of softer. We've lost a lot of kind of bulk of the cabbage as well. So what we need to do now though is rinse all that salt off. The cabbage itself will still have some nice salty flavor, but we don't want too much salt going on. So let's get that rinsed. I just want to get those other vegetables on top. And then our lovely homemade kimchi base. And then if you're really a masochist and you're after a bit of like a hand peel, you could get in there with your hands and mix that. But I'm not, so I'm going to use tongs. You could also use rubber gloves, of course, but tongs are what I have today, so I'm going to use those. Make sure you're getting everything coated in that lovely ruby red paste. Now you want to pack that into a sterilized jar. And the whole thing about kimchi is that, you know, traditionally it was something to kind of, you know, preserve and keep food for a longer amount of time. And why does that happen? Well, when we were talking about those reactions that happened earlier, so when the good bacteria starts reacting with the sugars and the starches, it produces a lot of things, flavor being one of them, acid being another, in particular lactic acid. So when you've got lactic acid combining with salt, which we have plenty of here, that kind of prevents any bad bacteria from popping up. So that's the idea. Now the idea here is that we want to give the kimchi enough time to, you know, get some of that fermentation magic happening, but you know, we also want to eat some kimchi quickly, fairly quickly. If you leave it out at room temperature, 2 to 3 days is all you need. Look, you could actually eat it fresh right now, it's still really delicious, but 2 to 3 days to give you some of that really cool, like funky, fermenty flavor kind of happening, and then store it in your fridge, ready to eat whenever you want. I happen to have some that I made earlier, so we can try it together. All right, let's get it. So here we go. This guy is like 3 days old today. Happy birthday. You can see we've got a lot more liquid going on in here. That's presumably come out of the vegetables mixed with the paste and all those things. Let's open this guy up. Ooh, you get that whiff straight away. You know, there is nothing else that smells like kimchi. It is, you know, its own category of food. Amazing. Oh, yum, that was great. Cabbage is broken down. Got lovely little bits of that spring onion. Obviously, the longer you keep it as well, the more the kind of tangy, you know, the lactic acid will keep developing and more of those tangy flavors will develop. So it will kind of change. I mean, that's the cool thing about kimchi. It's alive. All right, let's get in here and taste. That smell. That is spicy, but tangy, and you've got like the funky umami going on, but then actually it's not too salty at all, which is great. It will probably develop and get a little saltier as it ages, but it's starting out at a really good point here. Yum. A little bit of the spring onion, daikon, just perfect. All right guys, kimchi away. Happy cooking with this one. Yum.